Hi, I am Gerald Chan, a realtor practicing in the beautiful cities of Richmond and Vancouver in British Columbia, Canada. In this video, let us take a look at the BC Real Estate Association's Property Disclosure Statement document. The two commonly used residential property disclosure statements are number one, the Property Disclosure Statement for single-family detached homes, and number two, the Disclosure Statement for strata titled properties, like condos for example. In this video, we look at the disclosure for single-family detached homes. This document consists of 4 pages. The first page is for information only and does not form part of the agreement. The following 3 pages do form part of the agreement if the parties choose to. It asks questions about the property under the headings Land, Services, Building, and General. At the top of the first page, the information page, we have the wording to use if we want the disclosure statement to form part of the agreement. As mentioned earlier, the disclosure statement does not legally need to be included, but for the benefit of all parties, it is advisable to do so. In the next paragraph, the seller is advised to answer all questions honestly and completely. For their own benefit, issues arise if things are discovered later and it is shown that the matter was known to the seller. If the seller honestly does not know, then tick off "Do not know." In the next paragraph, the buyer is advised to make their own inquiries and not rely entirely on the disclosure statement. The buyer may ask the seller for clarification, request information from the municipality, and hire a licensed building inspector to advise on the cost of repair work identified on the disclosure statement or on any other problem they've identified on the report. 4 important considerations. Number 1, the seller is legally responsible for the accuracy of the information. The buyer will rely on this information when deciding to purchase the property. Whether or not the disclosure statement is incorporated into the agreement, the information needs to be complete and accurate. Number 2, the buyer is to conduct their own inquiry on the property, realizing that it may not be possible to claim against the seller if they cannot be found or is insolvent. Number 3, the individual assisting the seller in completing the disclosure should take care that the seller understands and answers each question completely. It is recommended the seller complete the form in their own handwriting. Number 4, if any party to the transaction does not understand the English language, consider obtaining a competent translation service to avoid any misunderstanding. So now, onto the actual questionnaire. For the purpose of this video, I will read it as it is written. Make a note of anything that is unclear and discuss it with your realtor. Reading from the top of the page. Property Disclosure Statement, Residential. The date of this disclosure. The street address of the property. Again, the seller is responsible for the accuracy of the answers on the property disclosure statement, and where uncertain should answer "Do not know." This property disclosure statement constitutes a representation under any contract of purchase and sale, if so agreed in writing by the seller and the buyer. Written in red, the seller should initial the appropriate replies. Category number 1. Land. A. Are you aware of any encroachments, unregistered easements, or unregistered rights of way? B. Are you aware of any existing tenancies, written or oral? C. Are you aware of any past or present underground oil storage tanks on the premises? D. Is there a survey certificate available? E. Are you aware of any current or pending local improvement levies or charges? F. Have you received any notice or claim affecting the premises from any person or public body? Category number 2. Services. 2A. Indicate the water system used on the premises. Municipal, community, private, well, not connected, Other. For the purposes of this video, we will check off municipal and ignore paragraphs B, C, D, and E because they typically apply under special conditions and your realtor will advise you further. F. Indicate the sewer system the premises is connected to. Again, we check off municipal and ignore paragraphs G, H, and I for the same reasons provided above. Category 3. The building. To the best of your knowledge, are the exterior walls insulated? B. To the best of your knowledge, is the ceiling insulated? C. To the best of your knowledge, have the premises ever contained any asbestos products? D. Has a final building inspection been approved or a final occupancy permit been obtained? E. Has the fireplace insert or wood stove installation been approved? 1. By local authorities. 2. Received wood energy technology transfer certificate. F. Are you aware of any infestation or unrepaired damage by insects, rodents, or bats? G. Are you aware of any structural problems with any of the buildings? H. Are you aware of any additions or alterations made in the last 60 days? I. Are you aware of any additions or alterations made without a required permit and final inspection, example building, electrical, gas, etc.? J. Are you aware of any problems with the heating and or central air conditioning system? K. Are you aware of any moisture and or water problems in the walls, basement, or crawl space? L. Are you aware of any damage due to wind, fire, or water? M. Are you aware of any roof leakage or unrepaired roof damage? What is the age of the roof? N. If you know. N. Are you aware of any problems with the electrical or gas system? O. Are you aware of any problems with the plumbing system? P. Are you aware of any problems with the swimming pool and or hot tub? Q. Do the premises contain unauthorized accommodation? R. Are there any equipment leases or service contracts, example security systems, water purification, etc.? S. Were these premises constructed by an owner-builder as defined in the Homeowner Protection Act within the last 10 years? If yes, attach required owner-builder disclosure notice. T. Are these premises covered by home warranty insurance under the Homeowner Protection Act? U. Is there a current ENER guide for houses rating number available for these premises? 1. If yes, what is the rating number? 2. When was the energy assessment report prepared? V. Have the premises been tested for radon? 1. If yes, when was the most recent test completed and what was the most recent level of radon detected? W. Is there a radon mitigation system on the premises? 1. If yes, are you aware of any problems or deficiencies with the radon mitigation system? And finally, Category 4 General. A. Are you aware if the premises has been used to grow cannabis other than as permitted by law or to manufacture illegal substances? B. Are you aware of any latent defects in respect to the premises? For the purposes of this question, latent defect means a defect that cannot be discerned through a reasonable inspection of the premises that renders the premises A. dangerous or potentially dangerous to occupants, or B. unfit for habitation. C. Are you aware if the premises or any portion of the premises is designated or proposed to be designated as a heritage site or a heritage value under the Heritage Conservation Act or under municipal legislation? Additional comments and or explanations. Use additional pages if necessary. The seller states that the information provided is true based on the seller's current actual knowledge as of the date on page 1. Any important changes to this information made known to the seller will be disclosed by the seller to the buyer prior to closing. The seller acknowledges receipt of a copy of this property disclosure statement and agrees that a copy may be given to a prospective buyer. And finally, before approving the document, the seller is reminded to read the information page, which we covered at the beginning of this video. Then, the buyer acknowledges that the buyer has received, read and understood a signed copy of this property disclosure statement from the seller or the seller's brokerage on a given date. The prudent buyer will use this property disclosure statement as the starting point for the buyer's own inquiries. The buyer is urged to carefully inspect the premises and, if desired, to have the premises inspected by a licensed inspection service of the buyer's choice, the buyer's signature. The seller and the buyer understand that neither the listing nor selling brokerages or their managing brokers, associate brokers, or representatives warrant or guarantee the information provided about the premises. Please don't forget to initial the boxes at the bottom of pages 1 and 2, and we are done. Well, thanks for hanging in with me. I hope you found this information useful and look forward to you joining me again in my next video. Thanks. Bye.